Ian Gary's taking on Carlos Prates this weekend, man. Today I'm going over my full card predictions, official full card predictions for the whole entire card. Let's get right into this, man. Let's get it on. First fight up, we got Chelsea Chandler. She's back taking on Joselyne Edwards. Edwards been pretty active here. Some losses coming. Eileen Perez, a solid grappler. But it seems like Joselyne Edwards, to me, with the little WMMA knowledge I know, has cleaned up her takedown defense. I think I don't want to say cleaned up, but getting better. She's coming in here at a minus 282 favorite. And Chelsea Chandler, she's not great. I'll be honest with you, not too impressed with her. She had that fight versus Norma Dumont where, if you know, you know. Anyways, man, let's keep this one simple. I'm going with Joselyne Edwards here, man. Let's move on to the next fight. Timmy Cuamba versus Roberto Romero. I've had a hard time with this one, because I do believe that it's close. A lot of people are on Roberto Romero. I'm sorry. I kind of understand it. Timmy Cuamba, I watched this guy on the Contender Series, and in the first and second round, I thought he was going to be really, really good. He fought Mateo Vogel, who's actually a good fighter, and he could have lost that fight. And some people had that scorecard where Mateo Vogel won the second and the third. I'm sorry, but Cuamba, man, he's very talented. He's a young guy. He's really good footwork. He's got quick hands. He's a good athlete, and I think his footwork is probably the best attribute that he has. He's able to move around, evade damage. He's had a rough little UFC run so far. He's 0-2. Stepped up short notice. Bellagioki, not going to hold him that loss against him too much. Lightweight, wasn't at his natural weight class. But then he takes on Lucas Almeida, where he just looked small in there. Lucas Almeida, well, he's not, a world beater. Lucas Almeida is a dangerous striker who's pretty damn good at striking. And Timmy Cuamba didn't implement his wrestling as much as I would have liked to see. You know what I mean? He shot a couple, but he got stuffed a lot. Or not a lot, but only a couple times. He should have kept shooting. And eventually in the third round, after taking a ton of damage, he comes back and, wins the third, which is super impressive. And I've seen people all over the place talking about Roberto Romero as this gritty fighter. Give Timmy Cuamba some credit, man. He just got dropped, 4 times in that fight versus Lucas Almeida. Won the third round. Got a ton of heart. The guy is very skilled, and I do believe he's a more skilled fighter. When you look at Roberto Romero, I don't know, man. If you want to go back and watch something, watch this loss. It's bad. Patrick Lehane, he ain't great. Roberto Romero lost to him. And this guy, in that fight, man, Roberto Romero's pushing that pace. Similarly to the David Onama fight, kind of at the start, pushing that pace, looking good, doing well. In this fight, he was trying to implement his grappling, and he gassed out bad. You know what I mean? And this guy just poured on the volume, and that's where I have some concerns because, like I said, he poured on the volume. Timmy Cuamba is a little bit low volume at times, but with the guy like Timmy Cuamba is back against the wall, you got to get a win here, man. You know what I mean? And he's killing guys on the regional scene, man. He's a good fighter, and I believe that he belongs here. Roberto Romero is good as well. One thing that Roberto Romero can do really well if he starts fast is he needs to get to those low kicks because Timmy Cuamba's got a wide stance. He does struggle with the low kicks a little bit. That's going to help him take away the footwork. It's a tight fight, and I think I'm just going to go with the guy who I think is better, and that's Timmy Cuamba. There's a world where obviously I can see Roberto Romero winning, but I believe in Timmy Cuamba, man. I think he gets a win here. I think he can hurt Roberto Romero as well. Timmy Cuamba's got good kicks. He's very fast. He's got good hands. He's got a nasty little left hook to the body that'll throw. I like what I've seen out of Timmy Cuamba. I'm going to believe in him to get this one done. I'm going to say a 29-28 decision. And maybe win in the second and the third round. We'll move on to the next one, but I'm going with Timmy Cuamba. Next up, Jaqueline versus Polyana Viana. I'm going Jaqueline. I'm not even clicking on the fight, to be honest with you guys. I'm not even doing it. Let's move on to a great fight. Great matchup here. You got Malcolm Wellmaker taking on Cameron Saaiman. Another pick'em, and I understand it again, man. Cameron Saaiman, there's two things in this fight, like blaring things, right? Both guys are going to try to implement what they want to do. And Cameron Saaiman is one trying to put the volume, the output out, and Malcolm Wellmaker is trying to knock this dude out and counter him. And I'll say this about my issues with Cameron Saaiman. Cameron Saaiman, these wins, man, they're really not great. Terrence Mitchell's awful. Mana Martinez not in the UFC. Steven Cos not in the UFC. I think Cameron Saaiman is a good fighter, but once he really took that step up in competition, when he fought C-Rod, when he fought Peyton Talbot, it got kind of hairy. The Talbot fight was brutal. And I want to compare Malcolm Wellmaker a little bit to Talbot in the sense that he's a big guy. He hits hard. He is going to be looking for those counter shots. I don't think that Wellmaker is as good as Peyton Talbot when it comes to the striking, but I think he is similar. Now, I have seen some issues with Wellmaker, and I like Malcolm Wellmaker a lot. He's one of the only fighters around my area. So, Saaiman, he's going to try to get after it with that volume. He's got great volume, but he does leave himself open to counter. So it's going to be on Wellmaker to take advantage of those opportunities and land something big. I think he might be able to. Another tight fight. But I have, like I was saying before, I didn't get to finish here. Malcolm Wellmaker has had some gas tank issues, and I will say that. And if Saaiman is able to push that pace where he does have good cardio, he's got great volume, we could see, a little bit of a late flurry from Cameron Saaiman. I think he could have success early on as well, but it's a tight fight. I'm going to go with Wellmaker. Maybe a little bit of bias here, a little bit, but I do think I have a valid reason. I think the bigger moments, the bigger shots, rocking Cameron Saaiman or cutting him or whatever it is, are going to be coming from Malcolm Wellmaker. And I do feel like that Saaiman struggles with these kind of bigger and more physical guys like, Malcolm Wellmaker, who's a couple inches taller than him, a couple inches more in reach, and physicality, the physical part of the side of things. Wellmaker's more physical. He's bigger. He's stronger. You know what I mean? And he's got a slick striking, man. It's just simple to me. But I could see it going either or. I'm going to go with Malcolm Wellmaker. I'm hoping he gets it done. I'm rooting hard for him, but I'll go with Wellmaker. Let's move on to the next one. The next fight up, DaMon Blackshear versus Arichi Lang. Now, I'll get this out of the way early. I think Arichi Lang, he's an interesting matchup because Arichi Lang, he's big. He's like a bowling ball kind of. He's a guy who can be easily picked apart from the out. Not I don't want to say easily picked apart from the outside, but you've seen guys do it, right? The last fight right here, Chris Gutierrez was able to do it easily. These wins over Cledson Rodriguez, Chad Engelgert, these guys aren't even in the UFC anymore. So, I mean, still, you got to give him some credit for winning them, but at the same time, not much. DaMon Blackshear's fought some stiff competition, man. Montel Jackson, is Montel Jackson alive, man? This guy got a knockout in 2 seconds, 9 months ago, and he's not. I think he's a fight book versus Marcos, but 9 months. Are you serious, bro? This guy never fights, and it pisses me off because I want to fade him, man. I want to fade Montel Jackson. I faded him in this spot, but he ended up, Blackshear kind of just walked into a shot, really. But DaMon has looked good, man. He is an extremely good grappler. I really like DaMon Blackshear's game. On the feet, he's got this Muay Thai style, and he can be blitzed. He can be caught by a big shot, and that's where Alatengheili might have a chance. But, man, DaMon Blackshear is so good. I really think he's a very good fighter. He's an extremely good grappler. I want to say he's one of the better, jiu-jitsu guys in this division. I truly believe that. Obviously, the Twister win, but even the submission, the Kimura over Cody Gibson, dealt with some pressure early on into that fight. But DaMon Blackshear took him down and went to work, man. DaMon Blackshear is a wizard on the mat. I like him here, man. Going to be hard for me to fade DaMon Blackshear against anybody, really. I really do think he's a very good fighter. And I like the activity as well. I'm going to go with DaMon Blackshear here. Let's go ahead and move on. Oh, man. Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda. I'm sick of seeing this fight. I hope you guys have, put me in your thoughts because I've had to watch John Castaneda film 4 times in 2 months, and it is just, it's not fun. It's really not fun. So I'm hoping this fight can stay booked so I don't have to watch John Castaneda film. This fight, Chris Gutierrez plus 140 here. Look, man, I think that Castaneda's actually got this. I want to say he can win the fight if he actually shoots takedowns and pressures. But do I trust in John Castaneda to do that? No, because I've never seen him do that, right? He's a guy who wants to stay on the outside, and that plays right into what Chris Gutierrez wants to do. Now, Chris Gutierrez, I'm not going to, I'm going to go in on him too. I'm going to talk shit about him too because I got to watch him tip-tap, leg kick, don't throw anything else at range, and I have to hear Dominic Cruz salivating over him, talking about he's the best striker ever. Look at what he's doing. Look at, he's an okay striker, man. He's not that good. He's got good low kicks, man. But, I mean, it just comes down to if Castaneda actually presses this guy and, shoots takedowns often, because Gutierrez hasn't looked good on the mat. His last win, Quang Lee, this dude, I don't know if he's a UFC fighter, really. I mean, this guy got dominated, Quang Lee did, by Zhao Long, dominated. You know what I mean? And this guy took a round, short notice, a week's notice, and took a round off Gutierrez, took him down, took his back. I mean, it's tough, bro, but it's John Castaneda on the other hand, who I just feel like on the feet, he ain't bad. He's not bad, but he has this kind of sparring style, and it's just where he's not throwing things hard. He's kind of just pitter-pat. Both of these guys, man. I'm just going to go with Gutierrez because, like I said before, I feel like I know John Castaneda is going to fight at his range. If John Castaneda actually comes forward, tries to box with him, which he could have success with, and then mixes in the wrestling, he'd win the fight. But I don't think he's going to do that because he never does it. So I got to go with the guy who's probably better at range, and that's going to be Gutierrez. And I'll give Gutierrez credit. He's able to land a lot of volume and not get hit a lot. And I just see him having a field day on the feet if John Castaneda is not actually pressing the action. So this fight's going to come down to John Castaneda either trying to mix in takedowns, trying to come forward, or if John Castaneda sits at range, which he's pretty much doing every single fight I watch him in. So it should be Chris Gutierrez. I'm not, gambling on this fight. I'm not excited. I'm not excited for it. I'm ready for it to be over. But anyways, man, let's go on to the next fight. Evan Elder, Gage Young. Now, I like this fight, though. You know what I mean? These guys are going to bang. Pause. Evan Elder's minus 190. The number's coming down on Evan Elder, and I don't know if I necessarily understand that because I think that Evan Elder, to me, these guys are similar. I'll say this. I think these guys are pretty similar. But Evan Elder just seems like he's better everywhere. You know what I mean? Gage Young, he likes to, wrestle for the most part. He wants to wrestle. That's what he is looking to do. But he also is going to try to get in that pocket and throw big shots. But I just think Elder's better, man. I don't know what it comes down to. Gage Young, he's not on a full camp. He's coming in on short notice. And I think the number's good for Elder, man. This guy's a good fighter. There's no doubt about it. He's got 2 losses on his record. This one's the Preston Parsons short notice up a weight class where Preston Parsons, not great. But Preston Parsons does have great cardio, and he does have solid wrestling. And with that weight advantage he had against Evan Elder, he was able to take advantage of it. This fight versus Nazim Sadikov, Elder was up. And it was a close fight. I want to say, Elder was up on the scorecards. I thought that it was 1-1, but doesn't matter. Evan Elder competed with Nazim Sadikov, who is a pretty damn good fighter. And then these wins, man, just killing. Darius Flowers is all not great. Geronimo Valdez, Valdez is an okay boxer. And, Elder, I just think Elder's just better, man. I think Elder can take him down too. And when you look at the competition that Gage Young is fighting, granted, I'll give him credit. He's finishing all these guys in the first round or second round, but it is bad, man. And I gotta, go in on this because the competition he's fighting is awful, right? This guy, man, I mean, not great, really. This is one of the only fighters he's gone to the second round with. I mean, these dudes are, look at this guy, bro. No shade. This dude's a fighter. He'd kick my ass, but bro, come on, man. These dudes he's fighting, 2-8, bro. Look at this dude, man. Come on, man. It's just, I know that prospects are supposed to fight, not the best guys, but this is little overkill. You know what I mean? Come on, man. This is what my problem with him. And then when he takes that step up, fights Quillen Salkid, he lost. But it was a good fight, Quillen Salkid is no shame. You can't, losing to Quillen Salkid is not a problem. If you watch my prospects, top 20 prospect video, I recommend that video. I put a lot of work into it. I think I built a good list. But Salkid was on it. I believe in Quill and Salkid quite a bit. And Gage Young brought the fight to him. Gage Young likes to come forward. He likes to slug. But I've seen Evan Elder get pressured, and he doesn't have a problem with it because he'll slug. And I don't think that Gage Young, his countering ability is good enough to drop or hurt Elder. I think that he could hurt him in the pocket maybe, but I believe in Elder, man. I think he's much better. I think Gage Young belongs in the UFC. Don't get me wrong. And I think he beats some of the lower level guys at lightweight, but I don't think Evan Elder's a lower level guy. I think he's a good fighter. Evan Elder kind of reminds me of Michael Chandler a little bit, but he's like, I don't know. I don't even know why I said that, but give me Evan Elder here. I kind of spent a while on him talking about this fight, but I love this fight. It's a great fight. I'm very excited for it. But to me, man, Elder's the better fighter here. I think he gets it done. Let's move on. Jimmy Flick versus Matt Schnell. Look, man, I there's a world, obviously, where Jimmy Flick can win this fight. It's not a good world because Jimmy Flick is not a great fighter. He's not complete, and that's what you got to be at flyweight, is complete. Jimmy Flick has awful striking. Like, this dude doesn't even have a TKO on his record, bro. Oh, my bad. He's got 6 TKOs on his record. Not going his way. Jimmy Flick, I like Jimmy Flick, man, but he's got a nasty submission game. I'll give him that. If he's able to get you down, and this takedown, it's not like his takedown entries suck. They're not awful, and he might be able to get Schnell down, but his striking is awful. It's really bad. And honestly, like, the number on Schnell is absolutely wild. I can't lie. Like, with this guy's durability, with this guy's IQ, the line is out like crazy. I almost want to go Flick, man, but I'm going to go Schnell, and I hate it because Schnell is very stupid. Like, even in that Durden fight, in multiple fights he's had, he's in that Durden fight, piecing up Durden, doing really well on the feet, and he just shoots a takedown, he gets guillotined and choked out. He kind of does that a lot, and I don't know why, and I think if he does that, he's going to get choked out or put in a bad position, because Flick is that good on the mat. He really is. I mean, he's got 15 submissions. The guy is actually very good on the mat. I'm going to go with Matt Schnell. I mean, not confident. There's a world where I'll bet on Matt Schnell by KO, but anything else, probably not. I'm going to go with Matt Schnell here. Let's go ahead and go to the next fight. Ikram Aliskerov, Andre Muniz, man, I just don't see him winning this. I don't know. The number's actually gone down a little bit, and I don't understand. I think Ikram's going to kill this guy. Muniz, he's long for the weight class. Obviously, he wants to get the fight to the mat. He's got a good jiu-jitsu. He's obviously got that arm bar in his back pocket. This was a fight that I didn't think he'd win, but he ended up getting a nod there. Paul Craig TKO is wild. And then the Brendan Allen one. It should be easy, man. It should be Ikram Aliskerov. He's better on the feet. He's more powerful on the feet. And I said this in my video. I think he can take Muniz down and hold him down. I don't see, that much danger in holding Andre Muniz down. I know he's all this grappling shit, but these guys that are from Mikhailivka, they don't give a fuck about that shit, bro. He can take him down if he wants to. He's not going to get submitted by him. Give me Ikram here. Let's go to the next fight. My guy, Danish Dynamite is back, and he's fighting Randy Brown. Danish Dynamite is my guy. Plus 210 here. Give me the Danish Dynamite, man. I don't care who you put in front of this guy. He's not plus 210. He's never looked plus 210 versus anybody. Maybe some people, but he is always game. Nicolas Dalby, this guy is always going to fight hard. I don't care who you put in front of him. He's got good wins. Look at these wins. 4-fight win streak. Should be 5. He should have beat Renat Fakhretdinov. Really, he should have. I don't care about Nicolas Dalby's age. He still looks good. I love Danish Dynamite, man. This guy fights hard. He pushes the pace the whole entire fight. And I don't care if this, he was in front of fucking Thanos, bro. I would bet on Nicolas Dalby if he's over plus 200. I do not care. This guy's tough. He's got insane cardio and pace. His volume is outstanding. I know Randy Brown's a pretty good fighter. I picked and bet on Randy Brown to beat Brian Battle. I thought he won the fight. That's besides the point. Now, let me get this out of the way first. I think that Randy Brown, if he's able to win this fight, I think he wins it by KO because the way, Nicolas Dalby's never been KO'd in his career. He's a very tough guy. He recovers well. But the shots that he gets dropped by, even throughout his whole career, are the straight shots. The front kicks, the straight right hands, the jabs, the knees up the middle. And Randy Brown excels at that. But if Nicolas Dalby's able to crash that distance, put this guy in the clinch, we just saw Bryan Battle do it. Why can't Nicolas Dalby do it? And Bryan Battle didn't even push the pace in the first round. He took the first round off just to because he had a bad weight cut. He thought he'd gas out. He took the first round off. Next 2 rounds, put this guy in the clinch, put him on the back foot, and beat his ass in the clinch. What am I missing here? Hello? Like, come on, Danish Dynamite, that's exactly what he does, bro. Bryan Battle is a good fighter, but he's not way, way better than Nicolas Dalby. Nicolas Dalby's going to come out here first round and push this guy, man. He does not care about what's coming back his way. Nicolas Dalby is, one of the most underrated fighters in the promotion, without a doubt, even despite his age, man. This guy will work you. The win over Gabriel Bonfim is going to age incredibly, right? He's going to put Randy Brown on the back foot, and he's going to push him. If he gets clipped, he gets knocked out, I think it's possible. But I will always take Nicolas Dalby because I know there's no quit in this guy. He's always going to work hard and fight. Now, Randy Brown, I can't say the same for because he was stuck in that clinch versus Bryan Battle for majority of the time. Yeah, you can give some credit to Bryan Battle for being able to do that, but it's also a dog. Like, I'm not getting held in the clinch. You know what I mean? Nicolas Dalby is relentless with the pressure, relentless with the pace, relentless with the volume. He's going to push this fight. He's going to fight hard, and he's going to fight for my money. And that's what I like out of Nicolas Dalby. He might not be the fastest. He might not be the most athletic. He might not be the strongest. But he's damn dog in him. He's got that dog, bro. I love me some Danish Dynamite, man. I don't care who he's in front of, like I said. Give me Nicolas Dalby this weekend, plus 210. Let's go, baby. Danish Dynamite. We're coming for the belt, baby. Let's go. Let's go on to the next fight, where we got Michel Pereira taking on Abus Magomedov. You're looking at minus 135, Michel Pereira. I don't understand. I think Michel Pereira should be minus 300. And I'll say this. I don't care what anybody says. He should be minus way higher. Abus Magomedov is not winning this fight, dude. This guy is not, look, when you look at Abus Magomedov, you look at the skill set. It's good. It's very good. He's a pretty good striker. He has solid wrestling and grappling, and he's a pretty good jiu-jitsu, whatever. But his wrestling's not that good. You know what I mean? It's not the caliber of Anthony Hernandez. It's not. It's not the caliber of Andre Petrosky. It's not. That just is what it is, Abus Magomedov is an okay striker. He's a pretty good striker. But this guy just looks fragile, man. You can't say he doesn't. And I hear people talking about, his cardio has looked good. It has. It's looked improved, you think? Really? I mean, really, man. This fight versus Warlley Alves sucked. He held Warlley Alves on the ground the whole entire fight and looked gassed. And once Warlley Alves got up, put this guy on the back foot, pressured him, he looked like he was about to get finished. You know what I mean? Abus Magomedov is not this guy, man. I don't care about, he only lost to Strickland. He only lost to Borjalho. I don't care. He's not beating Michel Pereira. Michel's going to knock him the fuck out easy. Like, bro, this is going to, I promise you, he will look minus 300. Michel is going to knock this dude's head off of his shoulders. Look, man, this fight versus Bruno Ferreira, I'm not impressed. I don't care. He won the first round, looked pretty good. But then the second round came. He got dropped with the jab, and it looked like he never recovered. It looked like when he got dropped with that jab, he looked like he was just on a different planet, man. And granted, he got the finish, but he was like, he looked awful. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know if he is a quitter. I was about to say, I don't know if he's a quitter. He is a quitter. What are we talking about here, man? This guy doesn't have cardio. He's not going to, if he lasts the first round, then he can, do whatever he wants to Michel. No, he can't. He doesn't have this kind of cardio. And for people to think that he's just going to wrestle Michel in the second and the third once Michel loses, no, he's not. Michel's not just going to be taken down that easily. I'm confident here, man, as you can tell. I don't understand. Michel is explosive. He's dynamic. He hits like a truck, and he's very athletic. He's going to have the athleticism advantage here. He's going to have the cardio advantage here. You go back to Michel Pereira when he's going to decisions against Santiago Ponzinibbio, against Andre Fialho. He's not out of these fights, and these fights are going into the second and into the third. He's not out of them. Sure, his cardio is not the best. I will say that, but I think it's still better than Magomedov's, man. Michel also works that body. Oh, baby. You know what? When he starts to land that teep kick to the body, I could just imagine what a boost Magomedov's face is going to look like. And then he lands that straight to the body. I don't care about anything that a boost Magomedov does. This guy is not that good of a fighter. He's got the skills, sure, but he does not have the heart. He does not have the toughness. He does not have the grit. And Michel Pereira does. I'll say that. Whatever, man. He gets TKO'd by Anthony Hernandez. It took him to the 4th round. He took a world beating of damage. Do you think Abus Magomedov would have done that? No. Abus Magomedov would have been tapping the strikes, okay? This guy is not who you think he is. Michel Pereira is going to smoke him, man. I might eat my words, but I don't care, man. I'm not picking this guy. Please, do me a favor and go watch the 2nd and the 3rd round of the Bruno Ferreira fight and tell me that this guy looked good. He didn't. He got lucky with the, Bruno Ferreira's IQ kind of fucked him in that fight. And I'm not saying Michel has the greatest IQ, but this is going to be easy. Give me Michel, baby. Come on. Let's move on to the next one. Giga Chikadze versus David Onama. Been over this, man. I'm going with Chikadze. I dropped something in my Discord. Not something, but I dropped a full, a breakdown on how I see this fight going and what each guy needs to do to win. Now, the keys for David Onama to go out here and win this fight is going to be to cut the cage off and pressure and do it in a way where he's not eating shots. And you see what I said at the end there, not eating shots. That's not easy for David Onama because he's a guy who eats a lot of shots. You look at this guy, how much he gets hit on the stats, it's insane. You go watch his fights. The guy gets rocked and hurt a lot. Now, granted, he recovers very well, and, he's always got that dog in him, and I love seeing that. And I'm kind of eating my words here, but I still think that Giga's got a good chance here. At plus money, Giga Chikadze in his UFC career has never lost a first round other than Calvin Kattar, where you could have given him the first. He landed the more damaging shots in that one. Chikadze's got great footwork. He's got great power. And obviously, he's got that incredible background in kickboxing. And he's pretty damn tough, man. The guy but ate, I guess he did stand through, ate everything that Calvin Kattar was able to throw at him for 5 rounds, man. It looked like he was out of that fight in the 2nd. And he still stood through that. Giga Chikadze needs to get more credit because people talk about David Onama's recoverability and his durability. Chikadze is just like that. You know what I mean? And the losses on his record are guys that are very defensively sound, like Arnold Allen, like Calvin Kattar, very defensively sound, that are able to pressure, that are able to take the gas out of Giga Chikadze. And I don't believe David Onama is able to come through with that game plan. And it doesn't get simpler than that. I think David Onama loses the first round, and I think he gets hurt in the 2nd, something along those lines, possibly finish. I think Chikadze can finish him because until someone beats Chikadze with that kind of reckless style, I won't pick, it's just not going to, I don't see it happening. You know what I mean? Onama, he's big, he hits hard for sure. I just think Giga's better than him, man, and it comes down to that in some sense. We'll see how David Onama approaches the fight, but I don't see the defensive, the defensive responsibilities that, Arnold Allen and Calvin Kattar were able to, able to execute. I don't see David Onama doing that. So I'm going to go with Giga Chikadze. We'll go with the underdog here, and we'll go to the co-main. Mingyang Zhang, Anthony Smith. I don't like the number because not only does Mingyang Zhang, he only has 3 fights in the UFC, but also he doesn't have much tape. And not only does he have much tape and film to watch, he doesn't have much fights that go long. You know what I mean? And that's a problem for me because I can't tell what the guy is not good at. Now, I know that Mingyang Zhang, what he's not the best at is eating shot because his defense isn't great. He'll smile at you when he gets hit. This guy, he's a menace, man. He's tough. He's been finished a couple times, and he's got 18 first-round finishes. So if the fight gets out of the first, maybe you can live bet Anthony Smith, but I still don't see it, man. Mingyang Zhang, he's very athletic. He spent some time at Extreme Couture, and we haven't really seen much of his takedown defense, but from what I've seen, it looks pretty good. I've seen his sprawls. They look pretty solid. He's a strong, big, athletic, young guy, and he's fucking ferocious, man. The Mountain Tiger, he's coming to take your damn head off. And at this point, Anthony Smith, man, look, these fights from Anthony Smith weren't bad. They weren't bad. But these fights, man, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Roman Dolidze, to me, is the most overrated fighter ever. I don't care what anybody has to say. I think that Roman Dolidze is the most overrated fighter ever. Okay? Anyways, Dominic Reyes, he wasn't really, coach wasn't there. I don't know, bro. These fights weren't that bad, but still, the Vitor Petrino, man. Vitor Petrino's dog shit, bro. Spanwin hasn't aged well either. I'm going to go Mingyang Zhang here. I'm not betting on this fight for sure. But, Mingyang Zhang to me, younger, more athletic guy. I could see a world where Anthony Smith, survives, and he's still not, bad at all. He's really not bad. But there's some different type of dog and grit inside of Mingyang Zhang, especially in that first round. I think he'll finish him in the first. But, I'm not going to count Anthony Smith out. Let's go to the main event. Ian Gary versus Carlos Prates. If you saw my main event, full breakdown, I'm picking Carlos Prates. I'm not changing my pick. I'm not a big fan of these fighting nerds. And, not a huge fan of Gary either for what he did to Neil Magny. Very weird guy. Very weird guy, actually. Very, very weird. He's an Irishman. I gotta like my ancestors, but Ian Gary is very weird, man. Please, if you guys don't know what he did to Neil Magny, look it up. It's very weird. I mean, Neil Magny's a great guy, stand-up guy, and Ian Gary just did some very weird things to him. Accused him some very weird things for making a comment. Ian Gary, that made me not like him, and I'll never like him just because of him doing that. But anyways, I don't like the fighting nerds. But I got to give credit to where credit's due, and I cannot be biased here. I think that Prates is going to win. There's too many times where Ian Gary's backing up, man. He cannot, I know he's got good footwork, he's got good elusiveness, but you're giving me a guy who, in Carlos Prates, who has finished everybody in the UFC early on into the fights, and every single one of his finishes are coming on the front foot. He wants to be on the front foot fighting you in, right in front of you. He wants to be on the front foot, and Ian Gary doesn't mind being on the back foot. Not only does he not mind being on the back foot, he's always on the back foot and on the run from these heavy hitters like Neil, heavy hitters like who else has he fought like that? MVP, Rachmanov as well, that he was always on the back foot. And I just think that Prates is going to want the fight to be there, and I think that's where he's going to maybe find a finish. You know what I mean? Carlos Prates is powerful. He's dangerous. If Ian Gary just thinks he's going to take him down, I think he's wrong. You know what I mean? I don't think that he's going to easily get Carlos Prates down. Now, do I think he can work him in the clinch, tie him up? Sure. But I talked about this in my breakdown video. A mistake that Ian Gary makes is he'll duck his head in to dodge a shot and grab the clinch, right? Prates is a master at setting these kind of counter strikes up. You know what I'm going to say. He's going to blast that knee right through him. You know what I mean? Man, I just got to go with Prates. I think he wants to fight. Octagon control is so important to me. And it's something I look at all the time because, if you go back to any of Prates' wins, even in LFA and stuff, all of these KOs are coming on the fence. You know, none of them are in the open. None of them are on him on the back foot. They're all on the fence. Now, I think Ian Gary's the more diverse fighter, but if you're going to give a guy who excels at putting people on the back foot and landing these shots to knock him out, I think he'll do that. And Ian Gary, he's hesitant to throw against these power punchers. I think Ian Gary's got chances, of course. He's a good fighter, and I said this before. I had a hard time picking this fight. You know what I mean? I was if I would have made the video right before, you know, the day I said I was going to, I would have picked Ian Gary, but I didn't. I made it the next day, and I got, you know, I just picked Prates because, I don't know, bro. It's a tight fight, but I just, like I said, man, I'm going Prates. I'm going Prates decision. Going Prates decision. That's going to wrap it up for me. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.